And you see, so here we are. We're ready to work. So we're going to work on this fraction question where we want to multiply 3 times 2.7. But we're going to use our words, our spoken words, but we're going to draw pictures that will help us figure out how to multiply, 3 times 2.7, or we say it using our correct words, 3 times 2 and 7/10. That's right. So one of the things we talked about before was that we have, if it will let me draw, 2 and 7/10, right? So we have the 2 in the ones column and the 7 in the tenths column, right? We have that. What else do we have? And we need how many of them? 3. 3 of them. It's okay. It's okay. And here we have our base 10 blocks. Each small blocks represents 1. Is that 1 a whole number or is it a fraction?
It's a fraction.
Why is it a fraction?
Because it's not like the whole thing. Not all of it is full.
Okay. And what about a 10? Does a 10 represent a whole or a fraction as well?
It also represents a whole.
A whole or a fraction? Look at it, because we're going from 1 to 10 to 100. Which of these 3 represents a whole?
The 100.
The 100. Very good. The 100 does represent the whole. So let's look at that and see what we're talking about. So all of this represents a whole. Right?
Right.
And then when we say, oh, let's look at it and say that now we have what? 1/10. That's just a part of it, right? This piece of the whole is 1/10. This is 1/10.
So it's 7 of them.
And 1/10 is really what? 10 out of how many?
100.
That's right, 100. So we can see that that's really only a part of it, and then it reduces down to 1/10. What about when we talk about the 1? When we look at the 1 is what?
A fraction.
Also fraction, and it's 1 out of how many?
10.
1 out of 10, yes, it could be 1 out of 10 because it represents this out of this 1/10. But what if we say it's 1 out of the entire whole? 1 out of 100, right? Yes, 1 out of 100. This is the whole. And it can also represent 1 out of the 10 pieces, which is also a fraction of that. Okay? So we know from our work that 2 represents 2 of these 1/10s, right? So we have 2 of these 10 sticks. So we have a 10, a 10, and a 10, right?
Right.
And this 10 is 1. This 10 is another 1. What about the let's keep working on the 2. 2 of them, but how many of those 2s do we need?
3.
We need 3 of the 2s, right? So we have to add how many more? 3 of the 2s.
1 more.
1 more will give us 3. Right? That represents 1 though. That just represents 1 of the 2, but we need how many?
3.
2 of the 3s, right? So how many more do we need?
1.
1 more?
2 more.
2 more? And that will give us how many total?
6.
6 of them. So we know that this whole number of 2, which is in the ones column, represents 6 of these 3s that we are multiplying it by. What about the 7s? How many will the 7 represent? We need 3 of these 7s. We need 3 of these 7/10ths, right? So how many of those are there? These are the 7. These represent our tenths, right? So this small block represents our tenths.
So 21.
Oh, I like that. So you're saying we need 21 of these tenths? 21 of these tenths. I like that. And then what will we do to figure out? So hold on one second. Sorry about that. We got disrupted. So we have 21 of them. And we're multiplying 2 7/10 by 3. How will we figure out? Are there any whole numbers in this 21? You said yes. How do you know there are whole numbers in that 21?
Because there would be 2 10.
Oh, so 2 10s are in there. So there's 1 10. And there's another 10. And what is left over after you said there were 2 10s?
1.
And 1 more is left over. 1, which is 1 1/10, right? One of those. So now, what would be our answer to 2 7/10 times 3? How many 10s do you have, or how many 1s do you now have?
You have the 8.
You said 8, so you're counting 1, 2, 3. Count with me. 4, 5, 6.
And then the other
2. Very good. The other 2 over here. 7, 8. So the whole number for our answer is 8. And what's the decimal?
1.
1, which really means 1/10. So we use blocks and we use a picture to figure out
3 times 2 7/10.
Very good. 3 times 2 7/10. So another way we can also write 2 7/10 is as a decimal, and we can also write it as a mixed number, 7 out of 10. And we needed 3 of them. And I love the fact that you realize that this 21 represented 2 10s that needed to be carried over to this ones column. Well done. I like it. And I like the picture that we decided to choose to help us, because we know we worked with base 10 blocks before, right? And you said, which grade did you say you worked with base 10 blocks a lot?
In 2nd grade.
2nd grade. And you see where we can still use base 10 blocks in 5th grade. Whether we draw it or we get a picture of it and use it, or we think about it in our minds, right? As we try to figure it out, especially when they say draw a picture. All right, so we're going to